Now that we've talked about hearing the block in the other person, that was the experience I had with Schubert that I talked about this morning. Now that we hear the song in ourselves, that's the Beethoven experience I talked about, we begin to understand that both that song, that forgotten song, and the block is in both of us, right? Which means it's in all of us. We all have that same one-minded remembrance that we are all children of the one God, totally at one with Him. We are all joined. We all have the fear of that oneness, which is the ego, that's the block. And we all have the same Holy Spirit that can help us undo the block by using it as a means to return us home, to lead us up the ladder that separation let us down. All right, let's turn to the psychotherapy pamphlet. It's chapter 2, section 6, paragraph 6. All right. What I'm about to read is a line that I read fairly often, or probably not fairly often anymore, every once in a while, as a wonderful example, among many others in the material, of how Jesus succinctly summarizes what the whole process is about. And here he does it again in the context of psychotherapy, but he could just as easily apply it to any relationship or situation you're in, business, personal relationship, any other kind of professional relationship, anything. Right? And he begins by actually going back to paragraph 5. He says, this realization, and the realization is that only forgiveness heals an unforgiveness, and only an unforgiveness can possibly give rise to sickness of any kind. That's the end of paragraph 5. This realization is the final goal of psychotherapy. How is it reached? Here it is. The therapist sees in the patient all that he has not forgiven in himself, and is thus given another chance to look at it and open it to reevaluation and forgive it. Nothing is said about the patient. Nothing is said about the dynamics of the patient, about the past history of the patient, about the technique of psychotherapy. Totally irrelevant. Right? If what has to be healed is the patient's forgetting to laugh at the tiny mad idea, the patient's taken seriously his or her problem. If that's the problem, then the solution is to remind your patient that the block has had no effect. And the gentle smile that has nothing to do with what goes on in your mouth. Right? It's an attitude of peace and of love and of kindness and of gentleness. That attitude, that gentle smile, says to the person, nothing happened. Once you understand that that's the problem and that's the solution, then my task as a therapist is to be able to be in touch with the solution. To look at the blockage in me that I believe has interfered with the flow of love. So as I'm sitting in my office with you and I don't know what to say and I get anxious and I get guilty and I get this and I get all the kinds of things that therapists get into, all of it is because I forgot that I'm not the therapist. And I forget all I have to do is hear the underlying melos and let the song, let the symphony unfold. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to make it happen. You know, but I told the story at the beginning this morning about the experience I had after hearing Beethoven's quartet, and I tried to make it happen with my patient the following morning. And I did not know how to do it. And I knew there was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to integrate that experience with what I was doing professionally, and I did not know how to do it because I thought I had to do it. So all I have to do now is realize the problem is my block, not your block. However, I don't know I have a block because I'm the almighty therapist. Years of training and experience, and I charge $175 for 47 minutes or 42 minutes or whatever. And I think I know everything. So what I have to understand is that whatever it is I see in you is a projection of what I don't want to recognize and accept in myself. The therapist sees in the patient all that he has not forgiven in himself. All of the guilt, all of the belief in sin, all of the judgments that we make about ourselves, that's what we don't see. And whenever you don't see it, you deny it or repress it, and whatever you repress, you would automatically project. So the value of my practice of psychotherapy is that it will heal me if I have eyes to see and ears to listen with. Which means I let my therapist show me that whatever it is I am making real and taking seriously in you is a projection of what I have not forgiven in myself. And now that I'm aware of that, it's open now to reevaluation. I can now look at it. So at the same time that I'm helping you get past your block by not giving it a power it doesn't have, I'm doing the very same thing for myself. That's the core of psychotherapy. That's the core of forgiveness. That's what shifts a special relationship to a holy relationship. Nothing is said about what the therapist does with the patient. Nothing is said about what you do to your special love or hate partner. We share the same goal. We share the same interests, which is to awaken from this dream, to hear the forgotten song, to learn that the blockage to this song has no effect. No matter how heinous the behavior, now how disturbed the pathology, now how egregious the sin, it does not have the power to disrupt the flow of that song. Not one note in heaven's song was missed. Nothing happened. No matter what you have done, my responsibility is to demonstrate to you by my peace and my defenselessness that nothing you have done has come between you and me. I may not like what you've done. I may try to stop your behavior, but I can do it if I'm in my right mind without anger, without anxiety, without guilt, without rage, without fear. And to the extent that I could do that, I am teaching you that your sin has had no effect. Love has not been disrupted. That beautiful melody, that inner melos has flowed in an unimpeded way despite what your ego has done or may have done. I hear in your attack, in your viciousness, in your cruelty, the call for love. That fervent plea that says, please, please show me I was wrong. That I have not driven you away. I have not changed you. That nothing I have done has had any effect on you whatsoever. And I would, by hearing that call in you, I would also hear it in myself. And I would realize we both have the same goal. We both have the same need. We both have the same interest in learning that we were wrong. That's it. That's the whole game. That's what psychotherapy is all about. Any therapist who picks up this pamphlet and expects to learn how to do psychotherapy, how to be a Course in Miracles psychotherapist, will be very sadly mistaken. Because they will hear the same old stuff that they've heard, that they've read for 31 chapters in the text and 365 lessons in the workbook and the manual. No different. Sure, as a therapist, I have to say something. And I have to intervene, I have to interject, I have to be helpful. But that's afterwards, that's the effect. That will automatically come. If I get myself out of the way as a conductor, Mozart's music will just flow. I don't have to do anything. I just let it flow. And wherever I feel there's an impediment in the orchestra, I heal it. And I just let the music flow. That's what I do as a therapist. I let the music, I let the melos flow. It's not that I don't say anything, but I'm not the one who says it. The therapist lets healing be. My job is to be aware of the projections I put on you, just as Jesus is saying here. So all I have to do is look at it now with Jesus next to me, and I laugh at it. It's not a derisive laugh. It's not a dismissive laugh. It's not a denial laugh. It's a laugh that says, how silly to think this could have had an effect on God. How silly to believe this could have had an effect on me as a child of God. That's all I do.